Hi friends, welcome to Crack Rugby. We are back with another important lecture by continuing the current affairs series that we are running in our YouTube channel and in the paid course. So we bring out to you the most important news material from the 4th and 5th November 2021 for your phase 2, right? So as you all know that the content that we bring out is not only important for NABARD, that is upcoming examination, but for RBI and SEBI as well. And also, if you are preparing for any bank examination, this holds important. So, RBI and NABARD examinations are descriptive in nature. So, we have put the content as per the description, right? So, few news articles, there would be background story. So, and few news articles, you will see that there is no data, but there is a story. So, the story is because you need to write something in the descriptive. So, let's begin with the first news article. 42 companies selected under the PLI scheme for white goods, right? PLI scheme for white goods. How many companies? 42 companies. The proposal of DPIIT for the PLI scheme for white goods for manufacturing of components, sub-assistants, AC and LED. So what are white goods? White goods are basically electronic goods, we can say. Okay, was approved by the Union Cabinet when it was approved on April. Okay, the scheme is to implement it over a period of 7 years. So this is old information, but this is very important because this has been in the news in the recent times, right? From 2000 means financial year 22 to financial year 29. Outlay of 6,238 crore. Okay, now let's come to the recent current affair that 42 applicants, okay, have committed an investment of 4,614 crore, right? So what is PLI scheme? PLI scheme is a scheme where government incentivize for manufacturing, right? So there are 42 companies that has applied under the PLI scheme for manufacturing this white goods, right? And has committed an investment of 4,614 crore. Now I think you can connect the news. Then the selected applicant, so this includes 26 for air conditioning. See, this is not important. Okay, I am just mentioning if in case you could remember, that's fine. But if you are not able to remember this, there's no problem. It's not important. What is important is 42 has committed 4,614 crore, right? And 16 for LED lights manufacturing company. Look, LED lights are very important. Why? You see, there is a government scheme. So I won't name this scheme. I want you to comment it in the comment section, right? So that you can test yourself if you remember the old scheme or not. Now, LED lights are very important because it will not only save the energy and the money, but also it will save the environment. Because in India, electricity is being generated using the thermal power plant. So in recent days, you see the climate change and the climate is discussed the most in the news and in the internet, and it's the reality, right? As of now, when I'm recording this lecture, you can see there is a flood in Chennai, right? So it's just because of the climate change. So LED lights can save few thousand crores, not only few thousand crores, but also the environment and the climate, right? So this is very important. Then six applicants are there who have proposed FDI, means foreign direct investment from countries sharing land borders. Right. Now this is very important. The approved disinvestment of rupees 4,614 crore are likely to generate net incremental production of around 81,254 crore. See, this has a big impact, right? So if let's say you want to open a business, if you invest rupees 100 in your business, obviously you look to generate rupees 500 from that business, and in the long run maybe 5,000. So we had been hearing, right? So many business have been started with some thousand rupees, and now their valuation are in millions and billions dollar, right? So yes, so in the same way, the investment of 4,614 crore will affect an incremental production of rupees 81,254 crore and direct employment of 44,000 people. Obviously, if some company is setting up the manufacturing plant in India, then there has to be someone who is working there. I mean, who will be working there? This shows that there is a direct relationship between the investment and you know em- and the employment generation, right? So let's move to the next news article. This Commission for Air Quality Management. Look, this news is, not so important, but climate is being discussed the most in recent days, and you should know what is happening in India. So Glasgow COP26 is all about global scenario. Yes, you should know that what India is doing, what the world is committing. Apart from that, what is India doing in its regional and local level. So this Commission for Air Quality Management. So this is a commission. Okay, so this commission, looks the stubble burning of that uh, the waste product from the farm from the state of Punjab, Haryana, NCR district of UP, and Rajasthan, and NCT Delhi. Right. So in the recent time, what happened is, okay, they have been monitoring the residue burning from the last 1.5 months, means from 15 September onwards to recent days, right? And using what? Using a protocol framed by the ISRO for the commission, right? Indian Space Research Organization. So what they have found that the residue burning events has been down from 43,918 in 2021 to 21,364 in 2021. So this is, so you almost see 50% reduction. So yeah, that's 51.35% in the current year, corresponding to last year. So this just shows India is really taking things serious, because this is not one day issue. This had been an issue from the very long time, and every government struggled. So maybe the previous government were not that serious because climate change was not that much discussed thing back then. Maybe the current government first term and the previous government, right? Climate change was there, everyone knew that, but nobody took it seriously until the things has come to us very hard in the recent times across the globe. We can see that every world leader is now concerned, right? So this is what India is doing at which level? Local level. So why this news is important? Because when you write something about COP26, you will write mostly about national level, right? But as per our suggestion, do also mention about what India is doing at local level. Okay, maybe about the plastic reduction. Okay, about the Clean Ganga program. So it's also related to climate, right? It's also related to climate. So you can mention all those points about the local thing that India is doing and make your answer stand out from the rest, right? Let's move forward. Startup Village Entrepreneurship Program. Look, this is you know an old scheme under the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana that you already know. I hope so. So what happened is 75 community resource person, okay, certified. So there is a certification has been done to the program, right? So the training lasts for 56 days, and the training is combined of classroom program and also the fieldwork program, and none of them are given the opportunity to do business or to become an entrepreneur unless they come across, I mean, unless they complete the training. So it's very important because every business has to be a startup should be sustainable. Only then it has the, I mean, it will have the capacity to become a unicorn one day, else there is no use of it, right? So yeah, so this is not very important, but yes, certainly you should know this. So these are the 6 states where the secretary of the rural development ministry has discussed things. So let's move forward with the next news article, that is Leh Berry. This is very important news. CSIR, in collaboration with Union Territory of Ladakh, will start commercial cultivation of C. buckthorn berry, also known as Leh berry. Okay, you should know both the names because you never know. Question can be framed using Leh berry and also C. buckthorn, so you should know both the name. From coming spring season in Ladakh, local entrepreneurs will be provided gainful employment through farming, processing, and marketing over 100 odd products from sea buckthorn plant. So sea buckthorn plant like jam, juices, herbal tea. So these are the types of sea buckthorn plant will provide employment opportunities to the youth of Ladakh. Right? CSIR will visit soon will visit Ladakh to evaluate the zinc fortification project. for Paschima goat and sheep and yak. So you should know all these things because this news is from your ESI section and also from ARD section of the upcoming examination NABARD. So as Ladakh is an animal-based economy, means most of the people relied on animal, right? So if you have not seen Ladakh, but maybe in movies you have seen, wherever you see the sceneries of Ladakh, there has to be goat, sheep, and yak. In any movie you can take it. So yes, you can connect things in that way. So Ladakh is an animal-based economy, right? So let's move forward. Green India Financing System (NGFS). This is very important in terms of Reserve Bank of India, where it has committed to a statement of commitment to where it has released statement of commitment to support greening India's financial system. Okay, so Reserve Bank of India has committed something. Now what? So it has committed in times when COP26 is going on in Glasgow. The Apex Bank joined the central banks and supervisory network for greening the financial system, NGFS. Okay, so this is Network for Greening Financing System as a member on April 23 and aims to learn from as well as contribute to global efforts on green finance. Okay, NGFS has reiterated its willingness to contribute to the global response required to meet the objective of the Paris Agreement. And to that end, NGFS will expand and strengthen the collective efforts towards greening the financial system. Right? As a member on April 23. On April 23rd, the Reserve Bank of India became the member of NGFS. Let's move forward. What is NGFS? NGFS, sorry. Okay, see. NGFS launched at the Paris One Planet Summit on December 12, 2017. And NGFS is a group of central banks, means only the central bank, and supervisors willing to share best practice and contribute to the development of environmental and climate risk management in the financial sector, while mobilizing mainstream finance to support the transition towards sustainable economy. Understood? So let's move forward with number 6. Bank credit grew by 6.84%, deposit by 9.94%. Bank credit grew by 6.84% to rupees 110.46 lakh crore. Okay, so this is in terms of percent, this is in terms of value. And deposits by 9.94% to rupees 157.12 lakh crore in the fortnight ended October 22. Okay, so in the previous fortnight ended October 8, bank credit grew by 6.48% and deposited by 10.16%. In financial year 2020-21, bank credit had grown by 5.56% and deposit by 11.4%. Right? So this thing you will have to remember because this is a data by the Reserve Bank of India. Then let's move forward. Glasgow 26, COP26. India's emission growing faster than most nations. Right? So let us see this data. Carbon emission in 2019. Okay, in 2019, according to our world in data, okay, increased 3.7% year on year. The growth rate was 3.8%. In subsequent year, it peaked 7.5%. The growth rate has been falling since 2009. I mean, this is something good. Then, however, so this is India's data, right? However, at 3.7%, India's emissions are still growing faster than most other major economies, right? Then, the emission in China, which emits 4 times more carbon dioxide than India, grew only 0.7% in 2019, whereas India grew by 3.7%, right? So basically, see, it's about industrialization. If you see China, China is already industrialized, although it's a developing nation like India, but most part of the China is industrialized. But whereas in India, after this government took over, industrialization is in the forefront, right? So in this data also you can compare things like that. Since India is on the verge of industrialization, you see the PLI scheme. What is PLI scheme? It's the industrialization, right? Manufacturing sector. So yes, now there is a question of sustainable and non-sustainable. The use of fuel, sorry, the choice of fuel, renewable or non-renewable. Okay, so that is altogether a different discussion to discuss. But here, when we compare our data, that is 3.7 growth rate with the China's 0.7 growth rate, we'll have to think that China, although being the being the developing nation, it's almost industrialized, whereas in India the industrialization has been started from 1991. Yes, but in the recent times, due to few or the other government schemes, the more and more companies are coming and starting their manufacturing plant in India. So maybe that could be the reason. So the reason is not listed, but you will have to think because you are learning economics, right? So you will have to connect things. This is how you can connect. Whereas the United States, which has doubles India's emission, reduced its emission by 1%. Now see. So this line says that in whatever India is emitting, let's say 100%, let's say, okay, okay, US is doing that double, means 200, right? But US being in terms of number doubles the India's emission, still it managed to reduce its emission by 1%, right? So yes, this is commendable on United States part. Then among its BRICS peers, so let us compare India with the BRICS peers. We have already compared with the China. So Brazil witnessed 0.2% contraction in carbon emission. So that is very good in Brazil. And South Africa saw 0.1% decline. Again, South Africa as well. India ranks third after China and US in global CO2 emission. Okay, means China at number one, US at number two, and India at number three. Okay, and see most both the nation, the US and the China, you can say are industrialized, right? But when it comes to India, it's not that industrialized when you compare with US and China, right? So US, there is no comparison because US is a developed nation, right? And we are still developing. But when we compare ourselves to China, we still see China is again ahead in terms of industrialization or in terms of manufacturing plants from India, right? So India is third. Then India, it accounts for 7.2% of the global emissions. So this is absolutely, uh, serious. On a serious note, India being the, so that India is home to 17% of the world population, okay, and it accounts for 7.2% of the global emission, right? So we have seen the news and also some background story so that you can write for the climate. Then okay, so there are more into this news. So in per capita terms, so see, in everywhere it will perform much better. Why? Because of the second largest population in the world, much better than all other economies. Obviously it has to be. In per capita emission, where just 1.9% tons, whereas China averaged 7.8% tons and the US averaged 16.06% tons. So yes, in data terms, US may seems very big, but yes, on the other hand, you will have to think that the what is the population of US? It's just almost 33 crores, right? 33 crores. So that is equal to the population of Uttar Pradesh, US. So this is the equation. The population of United States is somewhere around 33 crores, okay, and the population of Uttar Pradesh is somewhere around 33 crores. So US is equal to UP. So you cannot, so in terms of data, yes, this is good, but in terms of actual, this is high. Now, in per capita terms, if you see now, let's discuss. In the last slide, we have discussed, the good thing about China, but now this data shows the other side of China. Whereas China averaged 7.38 tons. Now you see China is at number one, sorry, China, then USA, then India, right? So this grew by 0.7%. This reduced by 0. What was that? Is it 0.1%? No, I think it's 1%. Yeah. India 7.3%. Now you see China being the world most populous country, it's 7.38% per capita. So you see now you can compare the amount of gas released by China alone, right? So this is concern. Then even Brazil, South Africa, Russia, and Vietnam had higher per capita emission than India. Yes, it has to be because India enjoys here because of the population, right? India has promised to reduce global carbon emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. Where did it was done? It was done in recently COP26 by the PM Narendra Modi in his Panch Panch Amrit. Okay, so do remember this Panch Amrit. Although this is an Hindi term, nowhere you know you can see this, but yeah, I think when a prime minister speaks something in a global scenario, this becomes important. Even in the news, we have seen it is being referred as Panchamrit, even in the PIB as well. Okay, so in exam, obviously you can expect when everywhere it is being called as Panchamrit, it can be called as Panchamrit in the future as well. So this is one of the Panchamrit by the Prime Minister, by the Honorable Prime Minister. Okay, so let's move forward. So according to the Climate Action Tracker, with its current policies, India will be producing 4 billion tons of carbon by 2030. 4 billion tons of carbon by 2030. The only economy to trump India was Vietnam. Why Vietnam? Means who is above? India is at 7.3, Vietnam is about 9.5%. But again, Vietnam is at 9.5 because of its low base effect. So you know what is low base effect? So we have discussed this low base effect in almost 3 to 4 of our videos. Again, I'm explaining it here. Let's say this is 2018, this is 2019, 20. Okay, something grew by 10, something grew by 2%. Let's say because of COVID. Okay, COVID, because of COVID. And in 2020, it's maybe 12. So you see, in 2018 and 2020 is almost or let's say 11, not 12. But when you it's almost same means pre-COVID level. It has jumped. You can say in 2020 it has jumped to pre-COVID level. Pre-COVID level it was 10 and it's 2020 this is 11. But what is low base effect? When you compare this in the last year's data, this is 2. The base is low. Okay, so in terms of percentage, what will happen? It 8, 9. It's 9 by 11 into 100. So when you compare the percentage, it's too much. This is called low base, means base has small value, right? So this is low base effect. It emits only a tenth of India's annual carbon. Let's say India is emitting 100, Vietnam is doing 10. Still Vietnam is at 9.5 because of its low base effect, right? So, so you can see in this graph as well. So let's move forward. So Glasgow COP26, banks, insurers and investors with 130 trillion at their disposal. Okay, so bank, insurance and investors with 130 trillion at their disposal pledged. So see, there are many bank, insurance company, investor who have the combined amount in their hand, okay, of dollar 130 trillion at their disposal. What they have pledged to put limiting climate change to center of the work, got support in the form of effort to put green investing on a firm's footing, right? This is very important. Why? Because see, no government can work without the support from the industry and its people, right? Without the support from its industry and its people. Let's say the government of India tomorrow announced that there is ban in petrol. or there is ban in petrol and diesel. Let us take an hypothetical example. But we, the citizen of India, do not agree with the government and we continue to use diesel and petrol. Then the government can do nothing, right? Yes, although government has many machineries, but still the hypothetical the example should remain hypothetical, right? So when a government takes decision, we the citizen should, uh, start to behave that way for a good cause for everyone. Let's say the government is supporting or promoting the e-vehicles, but on the other hand, if you see the cost of the e-vehicles is high because of the lithium. The cost of the lithium means the main ingredient in the battery manufacturing is high. That's the reason why, and also the technology is new. The infrastructure cost is high for the company who are manufacturing. So in India, you can see the local company that is Tata. It's manufacturing cars, EV, but still the cost is high. So Tata has bus, cars, everything in the in the electric segment. Mahindra is going to bring that. So, but on a recent on the future, maybe the demand when the demand boosts, when the more people will demand, the price is bound to come. So that is how every citizen can supports the government. And why I told this story is because read this line: bank, insurance, and investors with 130 trillion. So, so no name for the bank, insurance, and investors. So there are many companies who are banking companies, who are insurance companies. There are private investors, HNIs, with total net worth of 130 trillion. Okay, so they have pledged to support the government and put green investing on the firm's footing. This means that all the government, all the world leaders, whatever they have discussed in COP26 will be fruitful if this big people supports, and then eventually every citizen will follow. And when I say every citizen, it's not only India, it's for the entire world. Yeah. Then an announcement made at COP26 UN Climate Change Conference in Scotland. Okay, commits its 450 signatories, who accounts for around 40% of the world capital. So see, 450 people contributes 40% of the world's capital. So see how big these people are. How big? Just imagine. To assuming a fair share of their effort to win the world of fossil fuels. Right? The main aim of the COP26 talks is to secure enough national promise to cut greenhouse gas emission, mostly from the burning coal, oil, and gas, to keep the rise in the global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So let's move to the next news article, which is not very important, but somewhere I don't remember exactly, but in some examination there was a question: what was the rise in Sensex after a particular event? Maybe I think it's after demonetization or what, I don't remember exactly. Right. So if you remember, if any one of you remember, please do mention it in the comment section. That would be good for everyone to know what was that exact question. So during this Sambar trading that has happened on the occasion of Deepavali, okay. So I think the timing was 6:45 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. Sorry, 6:15 p.m. It's a 1 hour trading session, right? In the evening. So the Sensex ended at 60,060, a gain of 296 points. So this shows that this is as per the culture that this is a good start, because most of the communities in India follows the new year after Deepavali day, right? So they consider this as the uh, what it is, Shubh Muhurt or something like that. So that's why it is named as Samvat 2078. Okay, so in this data you can see every year the Sensex, except some few years like this one, most of the years it is on rise. Let's move forward. Fuel tax cut. Okay, so the union government has decided to cut 5 rupees on petrol and 10 rupees on diesel, right? So center will lose somewhere around 35,000 crore in rest of the financial years, because the cut has been made now in the recent days. Okay, so how many months are left? It's November, December, January, February, March. 3, 4, 5 months are left, right? So in 5 months, government will tend to lose only 35,000 crore. But you know, Where is this 35,000 crore going? Right? So this 35,000 crore will remain in the pockets of the people. How? Let's say you own a car and use car in your daily life. Okay. And before there was a price cut, you were using the maybe petrol or diesel of rupees 1,000, right? But now after the cut, you don't need rupees thousands petrol. You just need 900. So you have 100 rupees in your pocket to spend. And when you spend this 100 rupees on something else, the economy get boost. So this is actually a stimulus. Understood? So even you see on the data, the government tend to lose 35,000 crore, but this 35,000 crore will give boost to the GDP, and in that way government can earn. Because see, when you buy something of that rupees 100, okay, the sector will get boost, whatever it is. Government will have a revenue through GST, through tax and all. Okay, so one or the other way, it goes into the economy, and even if you save, that is again good for the economy. It creates money because when you put money in the bank, you remember the concept of M0, M0, M1, M2, M4. When you keep money in the bank or in the post office, it creates a ripple effect. It creates more money in the economy. So yes, this 35,000 crore is an stimulus, right? So it's around 0.15% of the GDP. Now let's move forward. ICRA upgrades. Okay, so ICRA is a rating agency that has upgraded the bond for the Punjab National Bank and Canara Bank, right? Why? Because they have improved their capital position and profitability. And that's why the rating agency has improved their bond so that they can better place their bonds in the market. So, with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. We wish you very good luck from the team Crack Crack B. Thank you. Let's meet in another lecture.